Here's what's coming up on Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken.
Talk about a rule that we've discussed here on the show many times in the past, but I think it's a great rule to cover once again, and that is the rule of 100.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's segment of AskMattDicken.com, where you, the Kentuckiana public, email in your questions and we answer them here on the show. We have a special guest with us today from the office, and that's Ian Carr, who's an associate, and of course Matt Dicken, the founder of Strategic Wealth Designers. Guys, you ready?
All right, today we want to spotlight a local charity that is near and dear to all of our hearts, and that is the Animal Care Society.
And now, the host of Strategic Wealth, Matt Dicken.
Hi everybody, and welcome to today's show. We've got an action-packed 30 minutes worth of information designed specifically for you. So stick around, because Strategic Wealth starts right here, right now. Today I want to talk about a rule that we've discussed here on the show many times in the past, but I think it's a great rule to cover once again, and that is the rule of 100. The reason why I keep talking about this particular rule is I really believe that if you had followed it over the last 5 to 10 years, you may have weathered the financial storms that have come your way a little better than what you had in the past. Obviously, that's all water under the bridge. We can't go back and fix that, but what we can do is fix things moving forward, because obviously I do not believe that the stock market is done being volatile. And once again, what the rule of 100 says is basically whatever your age is, that's the percentage of your retirement assets that should be completely safe and protected from risk. The difference between your age and the number 100, that's the maximum percentage of your liquid retirement assets that you could put at risk only if you're comfortable with risk. It doesn't necessarily say that you have to put that percentage amount of money at risk, but only if you're comfortable in doing so. So let's take a look at an example. If we have the number 100, let's say that the individual is 60 years old, then obviously, pretty easy math, that means a maximum of 40% of your assets could be at risk. Obviously, if you're 70 years old, then the numbers are 70-30. Whenever we talk about this particular rule, we always have to point out you don't have to hit the percentage exactly. If you are 62 years old, doesn't mean that you have to have right at 38% of your money at risk. You just want to be close to it. You just want to be in the ballpark, maybe 5 or 10 percentage points one way or the other. The vast majority of the time when we meet with individuals in our office, they are the exact opposite of this particular rule. They're the exact opposite of where they should be as far as risk and safety. So if we take a look at different types of risk-based assets, a lot of times individuals will have a diversified portfolio, and they think because their portfolio is diversified that their money is therefore safe, and it really isn't. So when we take a look at it, risk versus safety, we can break it down kind of like this. Obviously, some different risk-based assets are going to be stocks. Now, obviously, some types of stocks carry more risk than others, but as a category, they are considered at risk. Obviously, bonds are another category that would be considered at risk, not safe. And this is a mistake we're seeing a lot of individuals make. They're taking a look at it and they're saying, well, Matt, the percentage of money that I should have safe, it is safe because I have that money invested in bonds or maybe bond funds. And bonds, although I will agree, are maybe less risky than stocks, they certainly are not safe. They wouldn't qualify as something that can't go down in value because they have in the past, and they certainly will be going down in value once again in the future. So stocks and bonds are risk-based. Obviously, we would have things such as mutual funds are risk-based as well. Just because you have a diversified mutual fund portfolio does not necessarily mean that your money is safe. We've seen scenarios such as 2008. It didn't matter whether you had 4 different mutual funds or 8 different mutual funds or 15 or 20 mutual funds. There's a good chance they all went down in value. So obviously, we still have to consider that money at risk. We could go on and put some other things up here. You have exchange-traded funds, which are similar to mutual funds, just a little different. Again, that would be considered at risk. And then we have different things such as commodities. We could go on, but we've pretty much hit the most common risk-based assets that we see. If we're looking for safety, we only have a few options, really, if you think about it. Think about things that will not go down in value. Obviously, we have different vehicles that the bank will give us. So we might have CDs or savings accounts or interest rate bearing checking accounts, any of those types of things are safe. If we move down to the next level, we have different types of U.S. Treasuries. So say a 10-year bond, as long as the U.S. government doesn't cease to exist, we could classify that money as safe. You then have a fixed annuity is another safe category because we don't have to worry about losing anything when the stock market goes down in value. So if you have money in a fixed annuity, it's probably one of the safest places you can have your money invested in this country today. The only problem right now is the interest rate isn't going to typically be very good on it. And then the last option, of course, are the index annuities that we do a lot with in our firms. Not the only thing that we work with, but we do a lot with index annuities because it is a safe alternative. We don't have to worry about losing anything when the stock market falls in value, but we can still get a reasonable rate of return. If we look at these different risk-based assets, I don't know, we might be able to lose in any given year as much as 40%. Maybe in any given year we can make as much as 40%. Usually somewhere in between those numbers, we're going to capture pretty much what's happened in the past. When you look at different safe options, obviously the bank is somewhere around 1%. U.S. Treasuries are somewhere around 2%, maybe as high as 2.5%. Fixed annuities right now are in the 3 to 4% range, and then the index annuities historically over time are somewhere in the 6 to 10% range, again, without any negative years. So you can have money that's safe and protected like you should when you're trying to adhere to the rule of 100, but you can still get yourself a reasonable rate of return. You're not stuck with the low returns as far as what the bank will give you. So try and adhere to this rule. I think it will help you moving forward no matter what the economy or the stock markets throw at us. And if you have more questions about the rule of 100 or you're not sure how much of your portfolio you have right now at risk versus how much of it is safe, feel free to call the office and/or visit our website.
You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's Smart Money Television.
Enjoy an evening with best-selling author and TV talk show host Matt Dicken as he hosts his nationally recognized financial seminar in Kentuckiana. Discover what millions of safety-conscious Americans are doing now to protect and preserve their assets. Can you find growth and security in today's volatile markets? Can you safeguard your hard-earned assets from the IRS? Due to overwhelming demand for these events and limited seating, we recommend that you call now. Operators are standing by 24/7, 502-653-6080. That's 502-653-6080, or go to AskMattDicken.com.
You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's Smart Money Television. All right, welcome to week 2 of our 3-part series called The Consumer's Guide to Finding the Right Advice Giver. And to bring people up to speed from last week, Matt, this is something you put together, I think it's 2 years ago now, and so many people requested it, clients, friends of clients, viewers, listeners, and the thing they were looking for is they may not have been satisfied with what's happening with their portfolio. So whether it was to get a second opinion, the bottom line is if I'm going to find a new advisor, what do I need to know? What do I need to know to do this well? So in parts 2 today, we're going to talk about the next 2 sections in here, and that first one is a quiz. You put a quiz together for people. So why don't you tell our folks about that?
Yeah, again, as you move closer and into retirement, a lot of times your strategy has to shift. You can't use the same types of strategies and investments that you were using when you had many years to go to retirement. So for those that are getting closer and into retirement, we've created this quiz. It's simple. Right, I know a lot of times people don't like taking quizzes. Maybe it's been a while if you've been out of school.
This isn't one you need to be scared of, right?
Yeah,
this is nothing to be afraid of.
Pretty simple, and what's nice about it is everybody passes. There's no right or wrong answers. So I'm sure individuals have taken risk tolerance quizzes in the past, and there's some of that in the quiz that we have in the packet, but it goes a little further than that as well. It'll ask questions about what do you really want your retirement to look like? How lavish of a lifestyle do you think that you're going to need? It talks about how happy you are with your current advisor or what level of service that they're providing. Ask questions about how much do you worry about your money? How concerned are you that your money's going to last
Matt,
as long
I would
as
think
you need
that'd be a big point. And you've looked at those emails. We've gotten those phone calls where people aren't sleeping at night.
Right.
They're genuinely nervous. Will I have enough money? Especially after what happened in 2008.
Right.
Will I have enough money with everything that we need? Will I outlive my money? So.
Yeah. Well, obviously, the quiz is one step in the process of trying to figure that out for individuals. So, again, it's a pretty simple quiz, no right or wrong answers to the questions that we ask, and it probably will only take individuals maybe 10 or 15 minutes to discuss.
Do they have to study ahead of time?
There's no studying
Is there
ahead
a
of time
big book
required.
they got to
Yeah.
get first?
I wish
study
all
up for this?
quizzes were as simple as this one, but it is important information, and basically you get a score. You don't get a grade, but you get a score that then tells us how risky you should be with your money.
Great. The second part of this, and maybe the most important part, Matt, is finding and hiring the right advisor. There's so many different ways that you can find an advisor today, either by referral or going to Google, and we've talked about that on a number of shows.
Yeah.
But someone wants, or a lot of people want, a good resource to go to so they can ask the right questions.
Right, and that's why we put a section in the Consumer's Guide to Finding the Right Advice Givers that talks specifically about what to look for in an advisor based upon where you are at your current stage in life, meaning how close you are to retirement. So we've got things to look for in a good financial advisor. We mention all the time that success leads clues. All advisors will probably claim that they can do a good job for you, and I'm sure they all believe that they can do a good job for you. But not unlike anything else in life, just some are a little better than others at what they do. So you can look for things. Are they a published author? Are they maybe on the radio as an expert? Or are they invited on various news organizations to come in and discuss retirement planning in general? Who goes to them for advice? Do they have attorneys and CPAs that refer business to them? So those are some clues that you can look for. But then we also laid out a series of questions that, again, you can ask your current advisor, or if you're looking for a second opinion or looking for a new advisor, a series of questions that you can ask them, and based upon their answers or their responses, it'll start to lead you down a path of, is this the right person for me at this stage in my life or not? And if not, again, through the rest of the guide that we provide for individuals, we talk about what to look for in that other advisor and what types of things that they should be providing for you.
Well, I'll tell you, the feedback from this has been tremendous. I know there are lots of people out there that would like to get a hold of this, and the price of it is, Matt?
Well, it is complimentary.
Complimentary.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why wouldn't you pick one up?
Well, we had so many individuals, from doing the radio show and the TV show, where individuals would say, well, Matt, I'd like to maybe work with you. How do I know if you're the right advisor for me or your firm? We have a lot of individuals that are viewing or listening to our shows over the internet. So sometimes they're not local in Kentucky or Indiana or the surrounding areas. So we put the guide together really as a free informational resource. Again, it's not real difficult to go through the entire guide, and individuals are telling us that they're learning a lot from reading through it.
Great. 3 ways you can pick this up, folks. Real simple, toll-free, 855-MATT-DICKEN, or locally here if you're in Kentuckiana, 502-653-6080, or very simply go to AskMattDicken.com. Folks, stick around, and remember, next week's going to be part 3 of our series. You've been listening to The Matt Dicken Show, where safe money is smart money. You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's smart money television. Enjoy an evening with best-selling author and TV talk show host Matt Dicken as he hosts his nationally recognized financial seminar in Kentuckiana. Discover what millions of safety-conscious Americans are doing now to protect and preserve their assets. Can you find growth and security in today's volatile markets? Can you safeguard your hard-earned assets from the IRS? Due to overwhelming demand for these events and limited seating, we recommend that you call now. Operators are standing by 24/7. 502-653-6080. That's 502-653-6080, or go to AskMattDicken.com. You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's smart money television. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's segment of AskMattDicken.com, where you, the Kentuckiana public, email in your questions, and we answer them here on the show. We have a special guest with us today from the office, and that's Ian Carr, who's an associate, and, of course, Matt Dicken, the founder of Strategic Wealth Designers. Guys, you ready? All right, here are the questions. This first one is for you, and it's from Neil in Louisville. I saw your Sunday show and really enjoyed it. You seem to imply annuities offer a guaranteed safe return no matter what happens. What happens if the insurance company has a crisis like AIG almost did? Under that scenario, can you lose your investment? It seems to me the annuity guarantee is only as secure as the company selling it, the same way a corporate bond is only as secure as the company offering it. It's a long one.
That is a long one. And Neil, before we actually do business with any of the various companies that we work with, we do our due diligence. We make sure that they have a great management team in place. We make sure that their financials are in place as well. So every company that we do business with, we feel very comfortable that they're not going to have any type of issues like that. And on the flip side of that, there actually also is a guarantee association fund. It is state specific. In the state of Kentucky, every person is allowed up to $250,000 in coverage on 3 accounts. So that's a total of $750,000 in coverage that would protect you for any situation like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only other thing I would add to that is obviously one of the things we pay close attention to is the reputation of the company that we're working with as well. You know, some companies out there will sometimes play games and they'll tell you one thing and then do something else. So over time, a company kind of gains a reputation. And Ian mentioned the due diligence that we do. We probably do anywhere from a year to a year and a half worth of due diligence before we'll start working with a firm.
All right, Matt, this next question is for you, and it's from Tom in New Albany. And he writes, should I start drawing my Social Security when I turn full retirement age? What about subsidizing that by drawing from my 401k? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and once again, like Ian mentioned, it's a question we get quite often in the office, and it really depends on your specific situation. Drawing from your retirement plan may or may not be a good idea. Taking Social Security early, it really depends on if you're working or not. We do something in the office called a retirement income analysis, and I think that's probably what would best answer that question. A lot of times, if we just look at some generic rules, if you're no longer working, your spouse isn't working, taking Social Security early, more often than not, is a good idea. However, if you're still working or your spouse is still working, if they're earning too much income, you can actually start to get penalized. So each situation is unique. Probably getting a retirement income analysis is the best way to really answer that question in detail.
Thanks, guys, for those answers. And if you'd like to have your questions answered, it's real simple. Just go to AskMattDicken.com, click the banner that says Ask a Question, and we'll answer it right here on the show. We look forward to answering your questions.
Do you believe Social Security will be around when you retire?
All right, do you believe Social Security will be around when you retire?
I'm retired and it's still here today.
All right.
It's here now and I'm retired.
All right, it's here now.
I honestly don't know.
He honestly doesn't know. I don't know either. I hope so.
I hope so.
How old are you?
27.
27. We hope so.
Yeah, it'll be around because it just needs tinkering and fixing, but it'll never disappear. That would be a disaster.
Matt, I have a question. Towards the end of the month, it seems like our money runs out. How would you go about helping to save that money?
Well, I think what it comes down to first and foremost is trying to create some sort of a budget and then sticking to it. I would recommend, if you haven't already, purchase some sort of financial software. It might be Quicken or Microsoft Money. There's even some free ones that you can find on the internet, and start to track how much money you are spending on various things. Obviously, if you have a mortgage or rent payments or car payments, you'll know exactly what those dollar amounts are. But more often than not, individuals will find, if they will actually track how much they're spending on various things, that you might be spending an excessive amount of money on things like going out to eat or going to movies, entertainment, taking vacations, things of that nature. So I think what you have to do first is track what you're spending and where over the next month or two, and then start to create a budget. Sometimes you realize how much money you're spending on going out to eat, and you thought, wow, I never realized I was spending that amount of money on a monthly basis for those types of things. And then you kind of start to set a limit as far as what you're comfortable with. You can even, if you use some of the software programs that I mentioned, you can set alerts, and they'll even text you or email you when you get close to exceeding a certain dollar amount each month or going over that dollar amount. So at that point, you'll kind of know that you're either within your budget or out of your budget, but you first have to track it. You then have to create a budget, and then of course, none of this is going to be any good unless you find some discipline in trying to stick with that budget.
Mr. Dicken, I've got a question about my small 401k from work. I'm just turned 65 and I want to know how to roll it into an account that will earn a better interest rate than it's getting right now.
Okay, well, great question. You can always take your qualified retirement plans from your previous employers, whether it's a 401k, a 403b, maybe a SEP IRA or a simple IRA, and as long as you're no longer working at that employer, you can roll it over to an IRA. And we always recommend anytime you have an opportunity to roll qualified dollars to an IRA that you take that opportunity. It's really better for you. You can get more control over it. Quite often you'll have lower fees, and it's better for your heirs and beneficiaries. So it's a simple process. You could call us there at the office. We could help you with it, but getting a rollover done to an IRA is very easy. No taxes or penalties are typically due, and it usually takes maybe 1 to 2 weeks to get it done. Now, as far as the rate of return, obviously that's going to depend on what you've been experiencing in the past as far as what might be better. But what we can do is meet with you, take a look at your goals and objectives, and get you into a situation that's maybe a little better than what you have currently there with the 401k.
Hey Matt, when I win the state lottery, how much of a percentage is taken away from me?
Well, it really depends on how much you get when you win the lottery. You know, we've had some clients that have won some small sums when they've won the state lottery or local lotteries, but if you win the Mega Millions pot, then obviously you're going to pay a lot more in tax. Usually what you probably want to do is just plan on getting about half. If you take the cash option, depending on what type of lottery that you've won, you're probably going to lose anywhere from 40 to 50% in income taxes. So if you just plan on netting about half of what you won, then you're not going to be disappointed.
You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's Smart Money Television. Enjoy an evening with best-selling author and TV talk show host Matt Dicken as he hosts his nationally recognized financial seminar in Kentuckiana. Discover what millions of safety-conscious Americans are doing now to protect and preserve their assets. Can you find growth and security in today's volatile markets? Can you safeguard your hard-earned assets from the IRS? Due to overwhelming demand for these events and limited seating, we recommend that you call now. Operators are standing by 24/7, 502-653-6080. That's 502-653-6080, or go to AskMattDicken.com. You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's Smart Money Television.
In this week's Strategic Spotlight, we are featuring one of our favorite charities. Let's send it over to our roving reporter, Becca White.
All right, today we want to spotlight a local charity that is near and dear to all of our hearts, and that is the Animal Care Society. And today we're talking to the director of the Animal Care Society, Bunny Zeller. Bunny, tell us a little bit, for those that don't know about the Animal Care Society, what makes it different from other charities and other shelters around the Kentuckiana area?
Well, we are a private no-kill shelter. We've been around for 30 years. Actually, 9 people decided they wanted to make a difference in Louisville, Kentucky, and started the shelter out of someone's basement, believe it or not. And they worked out of a basement and won a veterinarian that they knew. And then eventually they got a backing of a business that most of them worked for, and were able to build this shelter. So it was the first of its kind, first no-kill shelter in Louisville. We can continue that practice, although it gets harder. You know, there are more and more animals needing homes. We do rely on private donations, membership fees, the generosity of the public. We also do a lot of fundraising to help support the shelter. We do not receive state or federal funding, so.
All right, let's go back to one thing you said for a moment, you know, no kill. When I hear that, obviously it's no kill, but someone may think, well, there might be more to that. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, no kill, like I said, it's really hard because there's so many animals needing homes. We're not like the other shelters. We don't have to accept every animal that comes to our shelter because we're private. We have to have space. We do check for temperament. The animal has to be what we would consider adoptable because we are an adoption shelter. So we check for temperament, sometimes age, and once we decide that we can bring them into our shelter, then they are here until they are adopted. So nothing happens to them. If they were sick, they get medical treatment. It doesn't matter how much the medical treatment is, how much it costs. It is paid for and it is covered.
All right,
So,
you can hear in the background, you can hear dogs, you can see the cats, you can hear the phone ringing off the hook. You like volunteers, right?
yes, we do. We do. As a matter of fact, we do have a very small staff. There's 7 of us here, and you can imagine we're taking care of the public. We are actually the ones doing the fundraising, and cleaning the animals. So volunteers are critical to what we do here. If I did not have the wonderful volunteers I do have, I wouldn't be able to pull off the events that we pull off. My staff would be just worn out from all the cleaning if they didn't have the helpers that they have during the day. So yes, it's critical that we have volunteers, so we're always looking. If you're an animal lover and would love to come out and help us out, you do. The only criteria is that you do have to be 16 years of age because of insurance purposes. But other than that, we would love for you to come out to our orientation, get you started, and have you start helping us, help the critters.
All right, sounds good. And they're located right here off Westport Road. What is your website and phone number in case someone wants more information?
All right, our website is www.animalcaresociety.org, and our phone number is 426-6303.
All right, sounds good. All right, Matt, I think I'm going to go check out the cats, maybe a dog, but I might come back to the office with both. I'm going to send it back to you for now.
Well, thanks everybody for watching today's show. Keep in mind, if you have any questions about anything you've seen on the show or anything in general, don't hesitate to give our office a call and/or visit our website. And remember, retirement planning is a journey, not a destination. I'll see you here next time. I was born and raised right here in Louisville, Kentucky. Started in the industry in 1997, and I started Strategic Wealth Designers, my firm, which is an independent firm, back in 2002. From a very young age, I always knew that this is what I wanted to do. I really was interested in being in a career where I could really help people, and then I kind of had a knack for money. It just kind of became a natural progression that I would help individuals with their investments and their retirement planning, goals and dreams. So it's just something that I always knew that I wanted to do. Well, I love what I do. I don't consider it work. Every day I get to help somebody new typically. I love helping people and solving problems, and I get to do that basically on a daily basis. I kind of view what we do for a living, or what I do for a living, is one of the most important jobs somebody can have. And it's a lot of fun helping somebody that is maybe 4 or 5 years from retirement and taking them all the way through until they're officially retired and enjoying it, and doing the traveling and doing the hobbies and passions that they had always hoped to pursue. That's the most rewarding thing that we get to do over the course of the year. We're going to continue to help as many people as we can in the community. We've built our dream home here. The business is located here. Our friends are here. Our family is here. Our clients are here. We don't ever see ourselves leaving, and I really enjoy what I do for a living. At this point, we're not necessarily working because we have to. I got started at a really early age. I've been fortunate. I wouldn't have to do all the things that I do, but I want to continue to do the things that we do, like the radio show, the TV show, and the educational classes, because we want to help as many people as we can have a secure, successful retirement, and I'm going to do it for as many years as I can moving forward.